Welcome to The Explainer. So let's jump straight in because, well, we're living in what's arguably the most unusual time in human history. I know, we hear that a lot, right? But this time it's actually true. Why? Because of artificial intelligence. Today, we're unpacking the story of the man who essentially sparked this entire revolution, Ilya Sutskever. He's the brilliant mind who helped create ChatGPT, the visionary who later tried to remove its CEO, and a scientist who actually became a total legend in the field a full decade before any of that even happened. We're going to trace his journey step by step to understand exactly how we arrived at the modern AI era.
I really want you to let this quote sink in for a second. The day will come when AI will do all the things that we can do. Think about that. Not just some things, all of them. Anything you can learn, the AI is going to be able to do as well. This isn't some throwaway line from a sci-fi movie. This is a stated reality from the very architect engineering our future. The stakes of what we're looking at today are absolutely massive, literally touching every single aspect of human life.
Section 1. The Big Bang of AI. From a childhood spark to a technological revolution.
Now, to really understand how we got to models that can write essays or generate art out of thin air, we have to look back at Ilya's incredibly fast rise. Born in central Russia and raised in Jerusalem, Ilya was just 5 years old when he was absolutely captivated by a computer at an expo with his engineer dad. By the time he was 16 and his family moved to Canada, he was already a powerhouse programmer. Literally so talented that the University of Toronto let him into their math programs straight out of the 11th grade. No way, right? It was there that he continued into his master's and PhD and experienced what he called one of his life's great strokes of luck, meeting Professor Geoffrey Hinton. Hinton was a guy who had been fighting a really lonely, decades-long battle for deep neural networks, and honestly, this chance meeting set the foundation for everything to come.
So Ilya goes all in on Hinton's vision, and the sheer weight of what they were trying to pull off here is staggering. Ilya said, if you allow yourself to believe that an artificial neuron is kind of like a biological neuron, well, then you're training brains. Let's just pause on that. They weren't just writing lines of code to execute simple tasks. They were fundamentally trying to build digital minds. It's an awe-inspiring and, yeah, maybe a little terrifying realization. So they set out to build this giant artificial brain, what became known as AlexNet. But here's the crazy part. They didn't have access to some massive billion-dollar corporate supercomputer. This world-changing technology, it was trained in grad student Alex Krizhevsky's bedroom at his parents' house in Toronto. They powered this thing with just 2 high-end gaming GPUs. It ran 24/7 for almost a solid week, and the cooling fans were so insanely loud they actually kept Alex up at night. It's just a fantastic reminder that these massive technological leaps usually have incredibly humble and super noisy beginnings. Fast forward to 2012. They take this bedroom-built neural network to the ImageNet competition, which is basically the Olympics for image recognition. They trained it on over 1 million images across 1,000 categories, and they completely crushed the field. Look at this. AlexNet slashed the error rate down to 15%, while the second-best team could only manage 26%. Professor Hinton called this the Big Bang moment for AI. For the very first time ever, a computer could look at a photo and recognize real-world objects with near-human accuracy. This single breakthrough is what opened the floodgates for the self-driving cars and the cancer-detecting medical imaging we have today. I absolutely love this quote from Geoffrey Hinton because it perfectly sums up the dynamic of that historic team. He said, Ilya thought we should do it, Alex made it work, and I got the Nobel Prize. Ilya possessed this brilliant intuition. He was the vital catalyst, the guy who convinced the whole lab to bet everything on that enormous ImageNet dataset. What took other researchers weeks to code, Ilya could literally knock out in an afternoon. Section 2. Teaching machines to read. Revolutionizing global communication at Google. Okay, remember how famously clunky Google Translate used to be before 2014? The old system would take a French phrase like il fait un temps de chien, chop it into pieces, look up the stats, and awkwardly spit out, it makes a time of dog. It was just word-for-word translation, and it felt super unnatural. Well, Ilya and his colleagues completely threw that out. They pioneered this powerful new architecture called sequence-to-sequence, or seek-to-seek. They proved that a neural network could read an entire sentence first, actually understand the context, and then generate a fluent sentence in another language. So suddenly we get the real accurate meaning, the weather is awful. This became the absolute bedrock for all modern translation systems. Section 3. The Open AI Revolution. A high-stakes choice and the birth of ChatGPT.
After a couple of years revolutionizing translation at Google, Ilya gets invited to this fancy dinner in Palo Alto with Sam Altman and Elon Musk to discuss a brand new nonprofit AI lab. The goal was staggering: to build AI to benefit all of humanity. Now, to truly understand Ilya's dedication to this new mission, take a look at this number: $6 million. Just 2 days after that dinner, he emailed Sam Altman to say he was in, literally walking away from a $6 million salary that Google offered him to stay. He chose instead to become chief scientist at this new startup called OpenAI. That single choice changed the trajectory of AI forever.
At OpenAI, Ilya became the driving force behind GPT, the generative, pre-trained transformer. So let's break down what that actually means. It's an AI architecture trained on a massive amount of text that reads an entire block of information all at once. By doing it this way, it finally allows the machine to reliably understand context, relationships, and cause and effect. And that is exactly why it can generate such remarkably human-like responses to our prompts. The transformer was an absolute game changer. Take a look at this really simple sentence. She didn't go to the party because she was too anxious. Older systems would really struggle to figure out who she even referred to or why she stayed home. But the transformer, it reads the whole thing simultaneously. It instantly recognizes the cause and effect, that her anxiety is the direct reason she didn't go. That specific breakthrough in understanding context, that is what directly led to ChatGPT and the massive generative AI explosion we're living through right now. Section 4, the boardroom coup, ideological crisis and the battle for AI's soul. But as OpenAI grew exponentially more powerful, a deep ideological fracture started to form. Ilya grew increasingly worried that the organization was putting rapid commercial growth and profit ahead of their founding promise to build AI safely for humanity. Eventually, this tension just boiled over. Ilya wrote a 52-page memo arguing for the removal of CEO Sam Altman, featuring some very severe allegations. The memo stated, Sam exhibits a consistent pattern of lying, undermining his execs, and pitting his execs against one another. Ilya actually sent this document to OpenAI's independent directors using a self-destructing email service so it would completely erase itself after being read. We are looking directly at the raw, incredibly high-stakes conflict over the direction of the world's most powerful AI company. And from there, the corporate warfare played out fast and chaotic. On day 1, the board gets Ilya's memo and abruptly fires Sam Altman. But over days 2 through 5, it completely backfires. Hundreds of employees revolt, and Microsoft, which is OpenAI's biggest investor, throws its full weight behind Altman. In the aftermath, to stop the company from completely collapsing, Ilya actually changes his mind and calls for Altman to come back. So Altman is reinstated, the board members who fired him are replaced, and eventually Ilya leaves the company entirely. This massive drama really exposed the deep tension between OpenAI's nonprofit roots and its commercial ambitions. A tension so deep, in fact, that Elon Musk sued OpenAI in 2024 over that broken nonprofit promise. Just for context on how that wrapped up, a California jury unanimously ruled against Musk in May 2026, saying he waited too long to sue, though he does plan to appeal. Section 5, the future of superintelligence, a new quest for safety.
Stepping out of all that corporate drama and into the final act of his journey, it's clear Ilya never stopped believing in that original mission of building AI for humanity's benefit. Leaving OpenAI was really just the start of a highly focused new chapter for him. He launched a new venture called Safe Superintelligence Inc. The mission is singular and crystal clear: to build superintelligence, meaning AI that greatly surpasses human intelligence, and to do it as safely as mathematically possible. Ilya is still genuinely in awe of what's coming down the pipeline. He truly believes no area of human life will be left untouched by this technology. He's ultimately trying to safely unlock this incredible, almost utopian potential for us all. Just listen to this. Imagine having a doctor who refers to every single study in medicine. Wow. Just imagine the diagnoses, the cures, the preventative care we could pull off if human experts were augmented by a safely aligned superintelligence that remembers literally all human knowledge. That is the exact future Ilya Sutskever is working to engineer. So, I want to leave you with a thought to ponder as we wrap up this explainer. If Ilya's prediction actually comes true, if AI eventually learns to do everything we can do, not just a few things, but all of them, what exactly will be left for us? It is easily the most profound question of our generation, sparked by the very architect who helped bring this technology to life. Thanks so much for joining me, and I'll see you in the next explainer.